aggressively doing that. I love this city. I love the people of this city. I want to serve as your mayor. I want to be the kind of person that you can look to every day and say, that guy's working hard on my behalf at City Hall, because that's what I will be doing. I will be a mayor who's hardworking, high integrity, high ethics, and I'll be a mayor with a lot of passion. Passion for the people of the city, the haves and the have-nots, the people who speak English and the people who don't speak English, the people who can trace their roots all the way back to 1836, and the people just who got here 18 hours ago. We're all Houstonians. We're all Houstonians, and there has to be opportunity for all. This is a moment in history in our city. You know, two fine candidates running. I want to say that one of those candidates, me, has the ability, the vision to move this city forward. So I'm asking for your support. I'm asking for your vote. I'm passionate about it. I want to move this city forward. Thank you all for the opportunity, and I think I've got a few minutes left for questions. Okay.
Setting NASA aside and not including NASA in this question, you said you would make and highlight our community because we're a model community. Name two things you would do so that the rest of Texas would know about us and the country.
One of the things that I want to do, but it's only in conjunction with the people in the neighborhood, because I don't believe that the mayor should impose anything on the area. But one of the things that I would want to do is to try to make sure that, you said putting NASA aside.
Yeah, I don't want NASA included in the highlight.
Well,
No, because
there's an
that's
attraction.
hard,
There's an attraction around NASA that would create tourists, that would create an economic opportunity that I would like to talk to
But I
people
don't
about.
want to include NASA right now. Why do you think we are highlighted and why we're so outstanding?
Why do I think it? Because you have some very fine homes in the area. You have a pretty good street layout in the area. Now you need some improvement on some of the streets. You need to make sure you keep the infrastructure up. But you have a layout model that a lot of neighborhoods don't have. You have also the opportunity for more green space in the area, the parks that we have. And if we work on our problem of flooding, using retention ponds as our plan to do, we can create even more green space in the area. You've got a growing university down here that I think is going to be not the hub of the system, but one of the premier institutions in the city. And you got some pretty doggone good restaurants down here too. Perry's being one of them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I do not vote for Perry or support Perry.
Right.
It's all right. I'm just telling you about the food.
No, never mind. Food is not that important to me.
Okay. Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
She wasn't here.
Oh, well, I already know what party you was. The standing joke is, are you a member of the Democratic Party?
I have been since I first voted. I have never voted in a Republican primary.
Okay. The question I have for you is this. She's asking about using Clear Lake as a model. One thing that Clear Lake has that the rest of Houston does not have is zoning. With development zoned most of Clear Lake.
No, we don't. There's a lots of businesses everywhere.
Deed restrictions.
I'll say it again.
Some
Most-
parts.
Hear me out. Okay, because Clear Lake is part of it is Houston, part of it is Webster. You know, the term Clear Lake is fairly broad, but most of the Friendswood development communities have zoning.
We're not in Friendswood. No.
You're making an argument.
She knows.
You're making an argument where an argument doesn't exist.
All right, Daryl, let's get right to the question because we're going to debate this thing forever. What's the question?
Just hear me out. Okay, most of the Friendswood development communities, you can have a sign over a certain height and everything else. One of the things that we don't have in Houston is zoning. As mayor, would you fight for that one way or the other?
I don't think that Houston can get zoning. I think the zoning opportunity for Houston is long gone. It's like the genie is way out of the bottle. And I think some of the development in Houston has benefited because there was not zoning. The problem in Houston, though, is that you have to have planning so that your infrastructure and your transportation grids accommodate the growing development of the city. It becomes very, very inadequate for large development to occur in areas where the sewer and the wastewater is insufficient and the streets are too narrow and there's kind of gridlock created. That's the kind of thing that the mayor has to work on in Houston to make sure that infrastructure and transportation can drive development as opposed to development driving communities. Okay.
This lady had her hand up.
Yes.
I have a question about, I have a two-part question. How long have you lived in Houston?
Since 1965.
Okay. And the other part is, we constantly hear every election, the main point is our police department. We have a very poor police department. It's known all over the country. That's why our city's running rampant, because our police are inefficient and gang members know it. My question is, we always are asking for more policemen. Why can't Houston get it? Is it a budget issue? Are we not attractive to police officers that are in other cities bringing them here? Why can't we get more police officers?
Let me just first say, I'm not an incumbent. So,
Okay,
but you have to understand that. So, I'm
okay,
going
what
to tell
are
you
you
what I'm going to do.
attract more,
Yeah.
make Houston attractive to more police officers?
And
Is it a salary dispute?
it is a salary dispute in part because
Yes.
other cities in this state that are recruiting officers have what is called a drop program, which is an add-on retirement program at the end. Houston has cut that back. So it means that we have to find other ways to convince people that you ought to be on Houston's police force. And that becomes a matter of recruitment, just like the University of Houston recruiting a football player. If you can't tell them you're playing in a great stadium, because we don't have a great stadium, you got to tell them all the other things that's great about Houston. So we have to have some opportunities for our, one of the things that I want to do is provide a incentive for further education for our officers. One of the things that I want to do is have an incentive for people who live in the city of Houston, for our officers. That will do two things. First of all, it will incentivize people to join the force, but additionally, it will create the presence of officers in neighborhoods. Right now, 75% of all our officers live outside the city of Houston. So that creates a situation where, so there are things like that we can do. We have to grow the size of the department, and we have to make sure at all times we work to make sure that the image of our department is one that people want to go in for a career. So it's compensation, it's image, and it's incentives.